Hi everyone, I'm Salmith, and if you notice on the right, that's actually me on stream in Vancouver. In Swiss Round 11, I went up against Andrew Hedrick, who actually ended up winning the entire thing. So shout out to him. In this match, he was playing Dragapult, and I was playing Lugia. We both had a very similar record, and if any one of us took the win in this round, then we were guaranteed top cut. And so this was a really high stakes game for us, and I was very blessed to be on stream for this matchup, especially against a decorated player like himself. So for this video, I wanted to highlight the plays that I made piloting Lugia V-Star, mostly talking about my thought process for all throughout the match, as well as some mistakes that I made that I overlooked while playing the game, but after watching the VOD, I can really highlight to you guys. I think VOD reviews are a very useful way of learning how pro players play the deck and how to pilot it a little bit more. I know that when I was preparing with Lugia V-Star, I was looking at other VODs of other players playing Lugia V-Star that have been playing for years, right? This is a deck that I only picked up like 1 week before this event, so I definitely see the value in VODs, and I kind of wanted to give back to the community with this. So let's get started and play this video a little bit.
Excellent players. We've got
two. I'm gonna mute so that I don't like have any like background noise. But man, I was so excited to play against him on stream. Like, it's been like a goal of mine to be on stream, and I'm just really happy I got this opportunity. So again, I'm just gonna be talking more about my plays and kind of skipping over his. Yep. And so here it is. So he goes first, and to my surprise, he just ends up draw passing. And so I was like, okay, this is great. So I started off with Squawkabilly, which like in this matchup is pretty fine because I use Squawkabilly for this matchup anyway to discard my Archeops. And so I have two goals in mind. In this turn, I want to get rid of two Archeops and put down a Lugia V on the bench, right? So if I look at my hand right now, I have, let's see if I can see my screen, right? So I have a Nest Ball, so that's a no-brainer. I'm just going to try to get my Lugia V down from now, right? I look at my, so I spend some time like looking through my prizes, or like checking my deck to figure out my prizes. Generally what I do is I like keeping track of the more important cards of a deck. So in this case for Lugia, I keep track of the count of energy that I have, as well as the legacy, if I prize legacy energy or not. So I just run through the number of energy that I have, because for this matchup, it's a very high energy like matchup where I have to use like Chinchinos, which uses like 5 energy. I have to use Regigigas, which uses like 4. Iron Hands uses 3 or 4. So I have to keep in mind how many energy I'm using, just so I can keep track of like which attackers I can use, right? I also keep track of all the important cards. As you can see, I'm like putting up the Chinchinos, the Luminions, the Blood Moons, just to make sure I have everything in my possession, in case if I'm like planning to use a Luminion or something. So that's why I always just keep track of that. I don't want to spend too much time tracking every single thing, so I don't track stuff like Ultra Balls and Nest Balls. But if you're a very efficient prize checker, feel free to do so. I just like spending as little a time as possible and just try to be more efficient with my prize checks. So, yep, so I look at my hand, and I have a Research and Archeops. So this is a pretty good hand, to be honest. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach an energy on Squawk so I don't waste his DTE, because I don't really need like another type of energy on Squawk for now. And I notice I have an Archeops. So I have two options here, right? I can either use Professor's Research, or I can use Squawkabilly's ability. And so when I'm deciding between both of them, I'm thinking to myself, well, if I use Squawkabilly's ability, what other supporter would I use other than Research in this moment? And I'm thinking to myself, no, I wouldn't use Boss, because there's nothing to Boss, right? I wouldn't want to use Iono, because my goal is to discard Archeops. And I wouldn't, there's an argument to using Jock if I pull it. But the problem with that is I would also need Research on my turn, in that same hand for the next turn. And if you look at my hand, I have 2 Researches in hand. So I kind of did some quick math, and I was thinking to myself that it would be really rare for me to have Jacques and Professor's Research. So I ended up just using Professor's Research first. So I attach an energy onto Squawk, and then use Research, getting rid of one one Archeops. Now the reason why I didn't put Blood Moon or Saluna down is because I wanted to prioritize putting down other Pokemon like Iron Hands and keeping an extra slot for maybe Lumineon or Regigigas if I need it. I just wanted to be more flexible than just putting down Blood Moon in this case. It did suck to throw away a Chinchino because it is a valuable card. But, you know, just getting 7 is fine. And remember that I can also just use Squawkabilly after. But, man, I hit the nuts from this, right? So I'm like, okay, this is good. So I'm going to use Capturing Aroma and see if I get a basic or an Evo. And I get a basic. And here's one mistake that I made right off the bat. Instead of putting down Iron Hands, which gives them significantly more pressure on their one prizers, because they're not... Andrew's not going to have a nice setup. He's not going to have a 2-prizer in the active, unless if it's like Pheasantipity or something. And so I overlooked that, and I prioritized putting down Regigigas in case if he has a Dragapult. And if you look at his board, he definitely doesn't have any Dreepies, so he's never going to have a Dragapult up. So this was my first mistake. I should have just put down Iron Hands in the beginning. I knew that I had Legacy Energy already, so there was no need for a delay. To be honest. So then I used Ultra Ball, getting rid of Archeops, and then I'm thinking of getting rid of another card. I feel like Mist is fine to get rid of, but I don't know. I think maybe I could have just got rid of another card, to be honest. Maybe just keeping the Mist Energy was fine, especially just attaching it to Squawk. In case, because his game plan is to just, you know, spread energy on, or spread damage onto Squawkabilly with Dragapult. And then using Dusknoir to blow it up later. So I definitely overlooked that, and I should have just saved the Mist Energy and getting rid of something else. It didn't really matter that much, but again, I really want to emphasize the mistakes because I think these little mistakes can kind of snowball into you losing the game sometimes. And especially with players like Andrew, who's been playing like for a while, they're gonna play really optimally, and like any edge that you can get, any optimal play that you can get is like really required to put yourself in a position to win. And so he's just setting up. I just had a feeling that he wasn't gonna Iona me because it's really hard for him to get down an Iona, especially since he needs to set up right now. So because he just has no Dreepy, right? And he only runs like 2. I assumed he run to only 2 Ionos. I think his list actually ran 2 Ionos, but yeah, I just ended up grabbing the Lugia V-Star from the Ultra Ball because of that. I just thought my odds were just really high. He attaches an energy, yep. So this checks out, right? He does Badoo lock me, or to item lock me. So I draw into my turn. I draw for turn, and immediately I evolve into Lugia. I know that he has a Dracloak in hand, so that's why I was completely okay to rip the Iono here. I evolved into Lugia, and I didn't want to like attach any energies from the get-go because I wanted to see what I get from my hand. And I'm not like too happy about it, to be honest, because I didn't really pull the Iron Hands, and this is where I was thinking like, man, I should have got an Iron Hands, but it's fine. I can just promote the Lugia and just attack from there. I ended up using Jet Energy because I wanted to save this DTE for Weirdeer later on in the game. So I ended up moving 2 energy there, and then I wanted to put 2 energy on Regigigas. I think they were highlighting right here that I should have put down a Mist Energy, and I couldn't agree more. I think that saving the Mist Energy and putting it onto Regigigas makes it so that I don't get Dusknoir blown up like we mentioned in the past with Squawkabilly. So putting 2 Mist Energy on both of these Pokemon is something that I kind of overlooked in the moment, and I definitely should have done that. So definitely keep in mind like where you put your Mist Energies. And I think I was actually telling him about that. I think what I really liked about playing against Andrew is that he was a very chill guy. He wasn't really like stressed about the game. Like I think both of us were like bantering a little bit. It was like nice. I just like having fun when playing this game, so it was nice that he also felt the same. So I took a knockout. He's trying to set up. He puts Pheasantipity, which I was so happy about. That means that my Lugia can get like more value later in the game. So he's debating on Ultra Ball, just setting up his board, getting Dracloak down, and I think he wants to try to attack as soon as possible. So he counter catches up my Regigigas to slow me down, which I think was a great play. I think this was the right play on his mind. He didn't know that I had 4 energy in hand before, so I was very happy for him to Iono. Okay, yeah, he gets an Iono there. That makes sense. Puts up Pheasantipity, which is definitely the correct play. And as you can see from my hand, I'm pretty happy with this. I want to try to set up a Iron Hands in this play and kind of boss around, right? So I'm thinking about that, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to save the energy from Regigigas, and I'm going to use a Nest Ball to grab Weird. Oh, yes. Okay, so actually I didn't decide to go for the Iron Hands play because I have Jet Energy to put up the Weird here. So I wanted to put more pressure and knock out his Fezandipity because I know that that's his main draw right now. And it seems like he's kind of bricking. He doesn't really have a lot of draw power right now. He has 1 Dracoloak, and Fezandipity would give him 3 if I used Iron Hands. The problem is I can't use Iron Hands because I don't have a boss in hand. And I only have 1 bench spot, so I can't just use Lumineon. So what I ended up doing was I wanted to utilize this energy right here and one of the DTEs so I can put it onto Weirdier and then use Jet Energy to push it up, right? So, you know, normally I'd want to put the energy on Weirdier. I know that I'm going to put the energy on Weirdier, right? But what I realized is if I put up Weirdier in the active, I just grab all this energy anyway. So I decided to fix my mistake of putting Mist Energy and putting it Mist Energy on Squawkabilly. That way, when I decide what energy to put onto Weirdier, I just choose everything but the Mist Energy. So that way I have more utility with these energies. And then I put a Gift Energy on Regigigas in case if it gets knocked out. I don't think I had another Mist Energy at this moment. Yeah, like the Mist Energy was on Lugia instead. So I ended up putting that much energy on it, so that's exactly 220. And I wanted to put a Gift Energy on Weirdier because even though I already have enough damage for 210, I wanted to give myself 260 damage in case if I needed to attach another energy for a Dragapult. There is a play technically where he can counter capture my Archeops, blow up a Dusknoir, and then just remove both of my Archeops at the same time. So I wanted to power up Weirdier preemptively. So that's why I was kind of thinking about like if I wanted to put another energy on Weirdier, and I ended up doing that for that exact reason. So now, because Weirdier has 300 damage worth of energy, that means that Andrew is forced to knock out this Weirdier. And so that saves my Archeops in the back. So that's what I ended up doing. Leaving the Mist Energy on this might have been a little suspect. I should have just put it on Weirdier, to be honest. Because if this hits for 200 damage, later on in the game, Andrew can gust up another Pokemon and put 20 damage counters on this. So that's something that I kind of overlooked again. And then I used Jacques to kind of thin my hand out a little bit more. And then I just attacked with Weirdier, took 2 prizes. I think he's just looking for, yeah. He notices that all my Mist Energy are gone. So, good on him for figuring that out. But let's see what he does now. Yeah, so if I recall correctly, he's going to try to make the Dragapult play where he knocks out both of my main attackers. Let's see if that's what he does. He Ionos me. Yeah, gets Radiant Alakazam. So he puts 130. He blows up with Dusknoir, retreats into Dragapult, moves 2 damage counters on this. This is everything that I expected, right? And so that's why I was like kind of regretting not having the Mist Energy on there. Just leaving 1 damage counter here really doesn't matter. He was just telling me that it really doesn't matter. But I knew that from my Iono, I just won the game. Because if you look at my hand, I have Iron Hands. I'm grabbing my Gift Energies, and look at that. I basically have everything I need. So I'm kind of taking things slow because I really don't want to mess this up in a stage like this. So that's why it took a while to figure out like exactly what I wanted to do. So I basically had game. So I'm going to use Ultra Ball. I organized my cards, getting all my energy in the front. I just wanted to take things slow and make sure I didn't make any mistakes, right? So I grab Lumineon, grab Boss, put Iron Hands, gust up anything, just retreat, and then that's all she wrote. Took game 1. Felt really good about that game. Yeah, as you can see, I'm really happy about that. Yeah, so we're just like talking about how the game went, you know, just like cool conversation, whatever. And then knowing that I'm playing Lugia, he forces me to go, I believe, first. Yes. This time he forces me to go first because he knows what I'm playing for sure. I kind of have a weird hand. I drew Archeops, which is cool. I'm gonna attach a Legacy Energy and then use Ultra Ball to get rid of Lugia V-Star in this because I want to get Squawkabilly down. So I was gonna discard all my hand anyway. And so I look at my prize cards, and oh my god, when I was checking my prize cards, it felt like I felt so sick to my stomach that I prized 2 Mist Energy because I was like, okay, this is gonna be really bad. This is gonna be rough. And so that's why, like, later in the game, spoiler alert, I kind of get punished for having 2 Mist Energy in my prizes because I can't really protect myself from like a lot of knockouts and stuff. So this definitely sucked. And so I decide to Squawk and Seize, and if you notice, I have my 3rd Mist Energy in my discard. So I'm not playing with Mist this entire game. So I have to play like pretty conservatively throughout the game, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, let me think about what to do. So I decide to Squawk and Seize like normal, and getting rid of Regigigas for some people might be like, oh, why would you ever do that? It's mostly because I wanted to keep more bench spaces for Lugia, V-Star, Lumineon, or any other Pokemon that I needed. I wanted to give myself more flexibility for this turn depending on what I got from this, right? Another thing that people might be wondering is, instead of Squawkabilly, why not just grab Lugia? And the reason is because if you look at the hand that I just got rid of, I have nothing my next turn if I decide to put Lugia down instead. So I want to take the gamble on just using Squawkabilly and then hopefully grabbing Lugia. But the odds are actually very high. So whenever I test, I use this thing called a hypergeometric calculator. And I use this to calculate a lot of my odds, right? So I kind of ran this like simulation a little bit. So population size in this case would be the number of cards I have in my deck remaining, right? And number of successes in population is like how many outs I have to Lugia. And this is just the maximum I have. So my list runs 4 Ultra Ball, 2 Nest Ball, 3 Lugia Vs. So right then and there, I have 9 outs to Lugia, right? I have 4 Capturing Aromas, and each of them have a 50% chance of hitting Tails and then being able to grab Lugia. So if we do that in like expected value terms, that's like 4 multiplied by 50%, which is just 2 outs then, right? So I rounded it up like that. And it's the same with Mesagoza. So keep in mind, I'm not considering the possibility of drawing both Mesagoza. So like to make maths a little simple, we're just gonna say every Mesagoza that you draw like has a 50% chance of getting that Lugia, right? So that means that in total there would be 12 successes in population, right? If you notice, I ended up using an Ultra Ball, so that's 11. And this population size is also considering that some of these pieces could be in the prizes, right? So let's just say for now I have 11 successes in this deck, right? And I just need 1 success to get the Lugia. So if I calculate this, that means I have an 87% chance that I get at least 1 card that gives me out to Lugia. That is a really good out. So that is a really nice percentage to get an out from. So I'm always happy to do the Squawkabilly play, and like especially if I'm going to get Badoo locked. So I almost always use this play unless if there's like matchups where having that many two prizers might be bad. But for this matchup, it's kind of essential because it's really hard to get rid of Archeops. So that's the reason why I justified putting the Squawkabilly down right here. Yeah. So I Squawk and Seize, and then guess what? Get an Ultra Ball, and yep. So I use Capturing Aroma. Hopefully I hit. Oh, sorry. I keep rolling it off the dimension. So I got Tails. So that's pretty good. Yeah. So I'll just grab Lugia from there, and then I have another Capturing Aroma to grab myself a Heads, Archeops, and would you look at that? That's just what I needed. I already had a Professor's Research in hand, so just discarding the Professor's Research was fine. Just grabbing Lugia V-Star, telling him, hey, I have the Lugia V-Star. If you don't have an Iono, you're cooked. So, yeah, I was just kind of forcing him to have the Iono, which would be really hard to get at the moment. I have 2 Archeops in discard, so I'm very happy with this play. And then I just, end up passing from that. He does have an Iono in hand, so he knows that he really needs to prioritize putting that down. He's looking at his prizes, and his prizes were pretty horrendous. Getting a Sparkling Crystal was kind of bad, to be honest. I noticed it later in the game, but I can explain the moment where I noticed it. So he puts down Badoo, which is exactly what he needs. It's harder for him. It's like the same reason why I decide to go for Squawkabilly instead of Lugia. He just has more outs to Dreepy later on, so just having the Badoo right now is like very essential to slowing me down. So he goes for Iono, and I'm like, man, that sucks. So now I only have 2 outs with the 6 cards that I'm gonna get, right? So I think the odd, I forgot how many cards I have in my deck, but let's say like the remaining cards, let's say it's 34. Maybe I had like 6 cards in hand, right? Now the number of successes I have in my population is 2. Keep in mind that this is like when I didn't realize that Lugia was one of my Lugia V-Stars were prized, right? I know that the Lugia V-Star that I had in my hand originally was just going to go into the bottom of my deck, right? So that's not one. I discarded one already, so that's not one either. So I actually only have 1 out, and that's Jacques. And the probability of hitting that was a 17% chance of getting it in 6 cards. 7 cards because I'm going to draw. It's like 20%, right? So I'm a little nervous, right? Like I could really just get locked out of this game. And so he's like setting up. He kind of gets the nuts low key, like just like setting up. So this is a great setup from him. He hits me with Itchy Pollen. And wait, I need to hear this. This is the one time I'm going to put the streamers or the announcers on. But look at this moment.
A lot of pressure here now on Summit. Is there a
top deck? Shock, are you kidding me? What a huge find.
I was so happy to hit Shock at that moment because I was looking at my 6 cards and I was like, okay, there's really nothing I can do right now. I might have to just like waste a turn and hopefully find something else. Hitting Jacques was like the best case scenario. And so you can literally see like I'm like kind of like in disbelief.
Is there a top?
Like I'm just like looking at that card. I'm like, wow.
Top deck. Shock, are you kidding me? What a huge find.
Yeah.
Needed to find that exact.
Yeah, I just needed to find that exact card. So, you know, getting Jacques. I grabbed the Chinchino and Lugia V-Star. Oh, I keep rolling off. And then I try using Mesagoza. I flip Tails for that. But if not, I would try to have a Luminion in my hand for like boss later on in the game. So I put some energy, distributed around all of my Pokemon. Again, I would normally put Mist Energy on Squawkabilly to protect it from like a multi-prize knockout, but again, I don't have it, so can't really do that. You know, I use Archeops and then take knockout on the Badoo. So I'm feeling pretty good right now. He's like setting up and like I think he's telling me like, wait, let me see.
If you leave up a Pokemon that has 100 HP or less, it's getting knocked out for 2 prizes.
I do want to give another shout out to Andrew. Like he was like such a fun opponent to go up against. Like I think like in his situation, most people would just be like a little tilted just because like I kind of hit the nuts for both of my both turns. But he was being like super cool about it. It's just always nice to play against like people that don't really get tilted. Yeah. So we're just like bantering a little bit, having a good time. And he's like trying to set up, getting all of his Dracloaks. I think he like conceded that like he's not gonna attack this turn because it's just like really hard for him to. And he does a good play of putting Radiant Alakazam in the active position. So that means that my Iron Hands actually can knock him out, right? But that's exactly why I didn't put Regigigas right here, because now I have a Luminion to put down, right? So I just wanted to roll for Mesagoza to save my Ultra Ball in hand, but I just ended up using it anyway because I need it for the boss, right? So I grab boss, Luminion boss, and then I gust up the Dracloak with the attack, or with the energy, right? At this moment, I don't really know that he doesn't have Sparkling Crystal, but you know, just going after the energy, that just means that he needs one more piece to do everything, right? So I just ended up knocking out that Dracloak, and I'm sure like at this moment he's like trying to like play to all of his outs, just figuring it out. But he knows that now he shouldn't take any knockout, because if he does, that means that I have another space for Luminion V. So I think his goal now is to just spread around damage throughout all 3 of these Pokemon here. And I think he noticed that I didn't have like any missed energies, because then I would have just been like putting it down in the moment. So he's like trying to like play it out, just figuring out like what to do. And so I believe he Ionos me because I have like 3 cards or 2 cards in hand now. And so he's figuring out his plays. Just grabbing a Dragapult. It was a good thing that he didn't hit this because then he has the opportunity to just like leave this alone for another attack. And so that he can use Radiant Alakazam to just move around damage. And so I'm like, okay, this is really good for me. This is really good. I need to top deck the boss. And I don't. But that's fine. Like I'm not complaining. I top deck Jacques, like I I definitely don't need to do that. So I'm debating on like what to do at this moment because I'm thinking like, do I just go aggressive and you know, like do I go aggressive and try to retreat and knock out like attack with Lugia? Well, that isn't a good idea, right? Because then I just retreat this energy for no reason. And, you know, like, he can just gust this up again, and then this Iron Hands is trapped. So my play is, I'm forcing him to have the Professor Turo scenario and doing 120 damage to him here. That way, if he doesn't get this out of the retreat, getting this out of retreat, then that means that I can attack with Lugia V-Star. So I just decided to... I decided to just swing into Lugia with Iron Hands and just doing 120 damage. Or 100 damage. In this case. Right? So, yeah, so I have all of this right now. He's going to roll. And he hits it. And I think right now he's setting up a Dusknoir. And then he already has Turo in hand. Or, no, he's going to use Lumineon for Turo. Like, the 2-pricer doesn't really matter at this point. Because he knows that if I can just gust up, like, any of these Pokemon, like... It's knocked out anyway. So he's fine with just getting the Turo just in case. And so he gets that. And he decides to attack. And he does a good play and just like spreads 6 damage counters on Squawkabilly. Yeah. And so so one thing to note is I did have a Mist Energy in my deck, right? Because I pulled it out from my prizes earlier. And so... what I was debating earlier was that I can put a Mist Energy on Lumineon or Squawkabilly. But the thing is, since I only have 1 Mist Energy, if I put a Mist Energy on, let's say, like Lumineon, he can just put all the damage on Squawkabilly and then vice versa. So saving that Mist Energy right here, I felt was kind of important. And I knew that he was a good player, and putting Mist Energy here wouldn't really do too much because he could just move 40 damage counters on that. So I decided to save the Mist for that reason. I know that the announcers were kind of talking about how I should have put Mist Energy here. But I kind of disagree with that because of the play that I was mentioning earlier. They're just like getting Radiant Alakazam. And so I'm thinking to myself, like, man, I am cooked. Because I know that next turn he can just like blow up Dusknoir and then just wipe out 6 of my Pokemon right here. So I'm thinking to myself, like, man, I need to like, yeah, my face is like, dude, I'm cooked. Like, I just need to think. And so I decide to roll. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to bank on the fact that if hopefully Andrew just messes up and I just capitalize on that. And so if he ever takes a knockout on any Pokemon without taking 6 prizes, I will just have Lumineon for game. So I rolled Mesagoza for heads and just put it in, right? So I also put down Mist Energy here just like kind of to psych him out a little bit. Make him like worried that Dusknoir might not work on Mist Energy, and so that's why like you know, just to psych him out. And so when I put it down, I bet like he was like I remember seeing his face. He was like and he's like thinking about it. So he goes over and he's like, oh, can I check that Mist Energy? And so he's like reading it after. I want to see if it yeah, he does. You're right there. See, like he's like, I really have to make sure. So I'm like, okay. Yeah, so I just wanted to make him worried a little bit, you know, just like something funny. I just wanted to point out, and so actually one mistake that I made earlier was I had a Professor's Research in my hand. So one optimization I could have made in this moment is instead of hitting Mesagoza first and then getting the Lumineon, I should have just used Professor's Research and just discard all the cards in my hand and then draw 7 so that I have way more outs for boss the next turn. So right now I have a 1 in like, who knows, like 20% chance, like 1 in 20 chance of getting a boss's orders for my deck. But if I just researched and just grabbed 7 cards off the get-go and then used Messagoza right after, I feel like I would have significantly more chance of getting boss the next turn and winning the game if he whiffs this attack. So that was a huge mistake I made, and I will not be making that mistake ever again after watching this VOD. I think my hesitation was that I had Weird Ear in hand, and so if he took a knockout on any Pokemon, I can just use Weird Ear. But I shouldn't have thought like that, and I should have just banked on the fact that I could use Lugia to use boss's orders on Lumineon. So I think I should have accounted for the fact, I think I was just trying to be a little cute or something. So I should have prioritized getting boss's orders the next turn. So using Professor's Research was definitely the optimal play that I missed. And if you notice, I pass, and he gets all the pieces. It doesn't really take too much for him to get all the pieces. All I needed was a counter catcher, which I think he ended up, like when I watched the VOD, he ended up just grabbing it from from one of his recon directives. So yeah, I bet he was super happy about that. Getting boss or counter catcher was like exactly what he needed. So he knows that he won. I knew that he won. And so we scoop it up to game 3. We don't really have too much time. I think we both realized that we don't really have too much time. So at this point, we're just like trying to play for trying to make sure that both of our board states can end in a tie, right? And so for me to do that, I'm just like thinking about like what I'm supposed to do, because I know that we only have like 20 seconds, right? So at the end of it all, I just decide to put down multiple Pokemon in the bench, get Lumineon for like research or something, and then just putting down like Weird Ear and Regigigas down. And so when I do that, he's like, yeah, it's over. And we decide to tie. And so overall, man, I am so relieved that I didn't lose on stream. Definitely, I wish I played a little better on my game too, because I think that like with some of the optimizations I could have made, it maybe would have gave me an edge to get like a higher chance of getting boss's orders later in the run. But overall, I'm pretty happy with my play, especially since it's my first time on stream. A lot of the nerves got to me. If you're ever on stream, there's so much white noise blasting into your ear. So that was something I wasn't used to. But it was like really cool to play against him. I wasn't really nervous about the player itself, because again, like this dude is just another like player. Like it wasn't like anything like different. And that's like something that I trained myself to do, because I feel like if I felt like the other player was better than me in any way, then I would just get more nervous and make like more like unoptimal plays. Like just like acknowledging that like he's just like as human as me, like really calmed down my nerves for this set. And so I'm very happy that we ended up tying instead of losing, because that means that me and Andrew can ID the next round and then get into it. And so after this, like I think like Andrew was talking to like 2 people, and they both were our opponents actually, Caleb and Christian. And so Andrew paired up against Caleb, I paired up against Christian, and they were like, oh, round 12 has already started. And I'm kind of nervous now, because I'm like, oh, what if Christian doesn't want to ID with me? He offers it, I'm like, okay, this is good. Like, I definitely want to ID, so I can guarantee myself top cut. Even if it's asymmetrical, I'm completely fine with that. Just getting top cut would be so cool to get back-to-back. So I ended up doing that. And so, yeah, this was a really fun run, and I'm very happy to be on stream. I hope that I get to be on stream a couple more times on like my season, and like many more seasons to come. If you like these type of videos, just give me some feedback. You can like comment on this YouTube on this YouTube video, or you can also send me a DM on Twitter, link down below. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully you guys learned a thing or two about like the plays that I make, and like how I think about making like optimal decisions. And I'll see you guys around. Let me know if there's any other type of content that you guys want to see in the future. Have a good one.